Oh, my jacket's gone. So my topic today is going to be about knowledge. How do you actually use knowledge? Because if you're like me, you have a tendency to be like,
oh, yes, the great evolutionary psychology. It's great information. Yes, very great, very powerful, very life-changing. If only I were to actually use it.
this is serious.
Learning, knowledge, blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Important information, blah, 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 blah. Learning.
But the reality is, you haven't truly learned something. This is what they say in psychology. You haven't truly learned something until it creates a behavioral change. And so that's why I want to talk about this idea of knowledge as scaffolding today. I could go a lot of directions with this. I could go this way. I could go this way. Knowledge and your thoughts are connected to your feelings. And in my last video, I recommended the book Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. It talks about how the associative network is symmetric, as in, if you smile, it makes you happy. If you talk quietly, you feel shy. If you talk loudly, you feel aggressive and powerful. If you don't do anything, you feel closed off. If you jump, you feel energetic. Your physical state and your thoughts are aligned, and every action you take affects your thoughts. Whether it's a large action like a big decision to move to a new city versus just the decision to me to be a little bit louder for a moment changes my thoughts in the moment. And you too. What you say changes your thoughts. You actually have what's called the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex in your brain, which an example of what it does is if you're going to a stoplight and it turns yellow, you have the option to either slow down and stop or speed up and keep going. By the way, this example is from The Winner Effect by Ian Robertson, I believe. And what happens in your brain is you have this state of dissonance, like you have to choose one or the other, and you have to either be the person who decides to speed up.
What is this?
No, you don't. Or the person who slows down. Oh, well, with the upstanding citizen I am, I'm just going to hit that brake and I'm not even going to touch the steering wheel while I'm doing it. What your DACC does is forces your brain into one state or the other. So you'll either speed up or slow down depending on what kind of person you are, which is what your DACC decides. So when it comes to knowledge, the story you tell yourself, as in the thoughts that you have, reflect on the feelings you have, and emotion is intrinsically linked with action. And so when you have a thought, it leads to an emotion, and it leads to an action. Actually, I first heard that, I believe, at church camp 12 years ago, but it didn't really sink in, you know? I remember I was sitting next to this guy, and I was taking notes, and I was like, thoughts, feelings, actions. And then under that, I wrote drama. And I started to the guy next to me, and he started cracking up. Anyway, taking action also influences your feelings, which influence your thoughts. And since it goes both ways, when you gain knowledge, you need to apply it to your actions, because then you'll get a feedback effect, which will then fix your thoughts. What they call this is action self-regulates. Okay, so you can't think your way to a solution many times. I've been sitting here 15 years trying to figure out the meaning of life just by thinking. How well do you think that's gone? And also, you can't just try something and get a good result without thinking about it. It's like a reflexive process. It goes both ways. So that's basically all I want to get across, is that knowledge is scaffolding, because when you learn something, the semantics of it aren't really what's important. It's the procedure the process, the behavior, the action that you take that is important. Thanks for watching, everybody.